Alright, boys and girls, today's lesson is lesson 5-1, extended multiplication facts. Today you'll be able to say that you can solve basic multiplication facts. You can use basic multiplication facts to compute fact extensions. You can use repeated addition and arrays to model multiplication. And you can describe rules to solve problems involving products of ones and tens and products of tens and tens. So rather than talk about how you can solve basic multiplication facts, that first I can statement you basically do all the time. We're working on that all the time. So this whole lesson has to really do with solving basic multiplication facts. So let's jump down to the second I can statement. I can use basic multiplication facts to compute fact extensions. So let's start with that. I'm going to start by showing you 4 times 6. You should all know that 4 times 6 is 24. Well, if we extend the basic multiplication facts, we're adding a 0 or 2 zeros or 3 zeros, however many we want, to one of the basic factors here. Here's 4. We're going to add a 0 to the 4 and make it 40 times 6. So 40 times 6 is still 4 times 6, 24. But then that 0, that's on one of the factors, can go on to the product of 24 to make it 240. If we do 40 times 60, we still do 4 times 6 to give you 24, and then you take 1 0, put it on, and then put the other 0 on to give you 2,400. This is the same as, think about money. If you think about money, you might think about how if you have dimes, each one dime equals 10 cents. So if you have one dime, you have 10 cents. But say you have three dimes. 3 dimes equals 30 cents. So if you had 5 dimes, so say you had 3 times 5 dimes, what would that equal? Would it equal 15? Well, no, because 5 dimes is really 50. So 3 times 5 would be 15, and you put the 0 back on. So if you had 3 times 5 dimes, you'd have 3 times 50 actually. So give you 150 pennies. So let's try another fact extension here. I want you to try this on your own. So everyone solve 7 times 5 on your own. So pause it, solve it on your dry erase boards or your math notebooks. Okay, hopefully you got the answer of 35. So if I extended this multiplication fact, I could do 70 times 5, which would give me 35, 7 times 5, but then you would add that 0 that you added on to extend it to make 350. If you want to extend it further, I could do something like 700 times 5, which would give me 7 times 5, 35, and this time we have 2 zeros to add on. If I take 700 times 50, that would equal 35 again, but then I have 1, 2, 3 zeros, so 1, 2, 3. Sorry, it's so sloppy, but that'll give me 35,000. So the main thing you need to know is basically to count all the zeros that are on it. So if you have, say, 7 times 6, you know it's 42. I'm going to put a couple extended multiplication facts down here, and I want you to answer them. So I want you to pause the video and answer these 3 problems. Okay, so hopefully you did 7 times 6 is 42. There's only 1 0 combined between the two to give you 420. Here we have 7 times 6 again, 42, and 1, 2 0. Put the 2 on the end to give 4,200. And here we have 7 times 6 again, 42 with 1, 2, 3 zeros. That'll give you 42,000. Now there's one trick, not really trick, there's one thing that a lot of you will run into. You'll run into a basic multiplication fact that ends with 0. And that would equal 20. Anything, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, they all already end with a 0. So if you extend the multiplication fact, you have to remember to get rid of that sloppy 5, sorry. You're going to have to remember to put that 0 on that you extended it with. So 4 times 5 is still 20, but remember this 0 sitting right here. That still has to go to the end and make 200. Also, if you go 40 times 50, you get the 4 times the 5, give you 20, and you have 2 zeros now, so put the 2 zeros on. So that's just one thing. It's actually easy, but a lot of us will run into problems here and not put the 0 on because we see the 0 from the basic multiplication fact. Alright, so the next I can statement is I can use repeated addition and arrays to model multiplication. That's pretty simple. Repeated addition is 4 times 10 would equal what? Well, you all know 4 times 1 is 4. You throw the 0 back over. 4 times 10 is easy. Basically what it's telling you, it's repeated addition. So it's saying 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. That's 4 tens. Okay, so 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay, another repeated addition could be like 2 times 6. That's telling you 2 sixes. So 6 and 6, you add them together, you get 12. That's kind of the basics of multiplication. You all should have that down by now. If you don't, that's another way to do it. As for arrays, you could have like desks in a class. So you have 5 desks in each row. These X's represent a desk. I'm going to make 6 rows. And each row, in order to make an array, it has to be a complete array. If there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 desks, this is a 5 by 6 array, which would equal 30. Okay, all these desks have to be in. You have to have the same amount in each row. There's 5 rows here. Each row has to have 6 in order for the array to work. So that's just another way to do multiplication. And the last thing is I can describe rules to solve problems involving products of 1 and 10s and products of 10s and 10s. That's basically saying what we just did earlier. If you have, say, 7 times 20, you know the rule is to take the main digits you see, the basic multiplication fact of 7 times 2, give you 14, then you know that new 0 can go right in the end. Okay, that's how it would be 1s and 10s and products of 1s and 10s, because this is the product right here. This is the product of a 1s, and then you have the 10s here, 2 10s. And the next thing says a product of 10s and 10s, so 10s and 10s would be 20 times 30 or something like that, to where you'd have the 2 times the 3 to give you 6, and you know this 0 comes over and that 0 comes over. So hopefully you have this down. I'm going to give you a couple more to work on your own, and then you can go back to your desk. But I want you to do these here. I'm going to put some on the board here for you. So let's go 4 times 4. Let's go 40 times 4. Let's go 40 times 40. Let's go 400 times 440. So I want you to work on those on your own. Pause it and unpause it when you get done with them and you think you're good to go. Okay, so hopefully you paused it and you got all the right answers here. So 4 times 4 we know is 16. So we know 4 times 4 is still right here as our basic multiplication fact. And there's only 1 0 in here, so let's put the 1 0 on. 4 times 4 again on the next one, you get 16. And now there's 2 zeros as part of that are in each of the factors. So it gives you 1,600. And then the last one is 400 times 40. And we have 1, 2, 3 zeros on the 4 times 4, which is 16. You have 1, 2, 3. So 16,000. A cool thing that you could think about is you could test someone at home and say, I can make a really, really big number for you. Because you could do 400,000 times 200,000, and that'll make a huge number. It's really easy to do. You take the 4 times the 2 to give you 8. And then you count the zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 zeros that are part of this multiplication, part of the factors here to find the big product you're about to find. So we have the 2 times 4 to give me 8. And then we have 10 zeros. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Look at this big number you just made. You made a number that is, I'm pretty sure you got the hundreds, thousands, millions, and billions. So 80 billion. So hopefully you got this down. And if there's ever any issues, you can always rewatch the video.